So we have somebody we want to try and Skype in as well. Keeping things a little different. She wanted to join us, but she got lost in the ice out there. So this is Natalie, actually. She's she's joining us this evening as well. Do we want to start maybe with Natalie just introducing herself quick before I sort of put her down?
Natalie, do you want to bring your face down just a notch? There you go. Perfect.
Is this better?
Yeah, great.
Back up.
Okay, did you want to introduce yourself and then?
Yeah, sure. My name is Natalie McFarland. I'm also a member of the exec team of Toronto Legal Hackers. I am a lawyer slash innovator slash entrepreneur. And I'm the founder of Positive Impact Law Group, and I founded that a few years ago just to think of developing solutions that can help bridge the gap that exists between the traditional way in which legal services are delivered and those who should be benefiting from the delivery of legal services.
And I'm Joanna. I'm also a lawyer, and I mainly do criminal defense work. Recently, a number of us, about 8 of us, began in Legal Hackers Toronto, which is a branch of a larger organization, in order to address the intersection of law and technology. And that often spans things like emerging technologies, access to justice, shifts in the profession, and properly informed policy decisions.
So I'm Aileen, and Joanna already introduced me to some degree, but I'm on the team as well for organizers, and I'm not a lawyer, actually, so non-lawyers are very, very welcome in this group. I'm more of a technologist on the technologist side of things. I'm a digital strategist, writer, several other things. My particular interest in jumping on board with Legal Hackers is ways in which we can facilitate more communication around the topics of human trafficking in and out of Canada. So I have a research background and a criminology background, and that's sort of one of my passion areas. And a space in which I think that the way that technology can reach sort of silenced audiences, I think enables a lot of ways for technology to actually make a difference in this space. So, and I'm going to let Joanna take it away, actually, because she sort of has the bulk of the presentation. So,
and I'm hoping maybe there'll be a form that people can contribute throughout the presentation.
So Natalie's on the computer.
Fair enough, fair enough.
Natalie, I'm just going to take you over here with me for a minute, because we're going to...
So, in a minute, there'll be a form available for those who have a computer or a phone handy. It's just going to ask for your name. If you want any contact information, great. If you don't, no worries. But if as I'm talking, and hopefully you're adding, you want to include things that are of particular interest or areas of concern, mainly things that spark your interest, really. That would be great, and then we'll start bringing that together into projects going forward. So anyway, so we are. I'm hoping this will bring us back afterwards. So Legal Hackers globally, I feel like that's the best place to start, is on every continent right now, and it began in 2012. It was started by a group of people that's largely led by a man called Philip Weiss. And the objective of that movement was to engage and have a big tent all the often somewhat silenced players in legal landscapes. So people who are consuming services, people who are delivering services, people who are developing the law, and sometimes people who are mistreating the law either by breaking it or by systemically undermining it in ways that are considered illegitimate. Subsequently, it has changed to a man called Jameson Dumpson, who is also in the States, which is where the movement began. And the, we'll see lots of dots, where our chapters are. The principles guiding the organization are slowly being formalized. So if anyone is interested in codes of conduct or is really savvy at framing in an inclusive and appropriate way hacking spaces, we would love to have you contribute to this discussion. But for now, we're just at 3 principles: hacking, neutrality, and inclusivity. By neutrality, we mean both that Big Ten idea, but also nonpartisan, and we are not endorsing or do not intend to endorse any particular party or corporation business. However, we do try to showcase businesses. So Toronto is an epicenter of legal technology, and we're hoping to bring that to the public who can often use that legal technology. A lot of it is individual based, and some of it is for service providers. So trying to bring awareness to available resources. Okay, I'm not going to click on this link because this is a little bit complicated, but we'll make this available later on. And this is both a neat tool for any hacking entity, so it's up for grabs, obviously, but also helpful for legal hackers to get a sense of what interests the communities that we're engaging with. So if there are things in the forum, then they'll automatically be grouped into hacking groups later on, which is very similar to your approach. Okay, so if Natalie is queued, then this is her section. Natalie, how are you fair game?
Wait, I muted her. 1 second.
So Natalie began working in kind of the law and technology arena well before most people did. I think probably 2012, 2013. She's also, I think, the first B corporation law.
Can she hear you?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Great, we can hear you. Okay, so take it away. We're on your slide.
Pardon?
We're on emergence of legal hacking landscapes in Toronto.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so I would say that it was around 2014 where the legal hacking landscape really started to take shape and form in Canada, particularly in Toronto. So it was, I think, triggered primarily by the launch of the Canadian Bar Association's Futures Report, which is a really extensive report. It's available on their website, cba.org. And essentially, they were, after 2 years of studying the landscape, were preparing the legal profession for, and really making a call to action for the legal profession to really leverage all the tools that exist right now, particularly the technology, and even just new ways of reimagining legal services to ensure that that the legal profession is delivering on its role in society. And so there's 2 key themes that we're really focused on in their report, which is access to justice and diversity, and being able to rise to the challenge of reimagining what it means to practice law, reimagining how technology can be leveraged to deliver more affordable, more accessible legal services to underserved populations in Canada. So that was about 2.5 years ago, and then since then, there have been the establishment of a couple of legal innovation-focused incubators. So one was Legal X that was developed at Mars, and as well around the same time, there was Ryerson's Legal Innovation Zone that was launched in 2015. And then, of course, last year is when we established our chapter of legal hackers in Toronto. So there has been a lot of movement. I think that most would agree that Toronto has really emerged as an epicenter globally for legal innovation. And there's a lot of cross-pollination of professionals from other disciplines. Of course, there's a huge need for technologists, design thinkers, engineers to collaborate with people in the industry, professional lawyers particularly, to help reconceive how law can be experienced.
Great. Thanks a lot, Natalie. That's perfect.
You're welcome.
So here are a few examples of some emerging kind of legal hacking. These are enterprises, but there are non-enterprises as well, we'll get to in a second. And a lot of them are using a few similar things. One is big data, kind of machine learning as in its current state. And then also what I think is super neat, kind of clumping information in ways that are comprehensible to most of the population. And I think that's something that the law has often not done for a variety of interests. Some of it is just there's a lot of information. Some of it is perhaps not always most acquainted with technology, and perhaps another part of it is billing practices. So there's an interest in maintaining this system in a potentially in a less effective way than than it could otherwise be. But there are some great examples of developments that are not as invested in maintaining a kind of professional monopoly. So one of those people and kind of areas of focus is initiated by Margaret Higgin at the Stanford Center for Legal Innovation. And she does a lot of really neat work on design thinking in the law and also different approaches to legal education. So she's got an app that kind of gamifies legal education, and she's initiated a number of hackathons both around Stanford and also in California to assist with transformations in the justice system. And California is doing some interesting stuff on that. And hopefully Ontario will be doing some interesting stuff on that. It already is in the process of doing so. Ways to hack law. So then we have some people who are specifically in Ontario. So Windsor Law School is has a number of people working on some neat initiatives. Also the other law schools, but this is just one that isn't maybe as close to home and therefore worth highlighting. And so Julie McFarland has started a hub for family law users to share their knowledge. So it's a more of a peer educator approach, which is perhaps underutilized within our society, but one that could be really effectively utilized and would be based on groups like this kind of getting invested in that concept. Then we have hacking legislative development. So Noel Semple, also Windsor Law School, has a kind of a neat approach to deciding which way to reform the law is the most effective for those people who are going to have to be bound by the law once it's passed. So his work mainly focuses on carding, which is of some interest to some of these groups, maybe not everyone. And he just does it as a test case. So Group A has a certain kind of possible legislative reform. Group B has a different one, slightly different wordings, and then just compares them statistically, which is an excellent way of deciding how to phrase the law going forward. And I think, as far as I've seen, he's one of the only people doing that. And why we're here today is to find out if our community can assist with any of your ongoing projects and then start helping. And then if anyone here is interested in beginning a project that specifically deals with the intersection of law and technology, or just is about reforming the development of the law, the enforcement of the law, or legal assistance in general, then we would love to support you in that. So we have a Slack team, and you can email either of us and we'll put you on, or actually if you put your contact information in that form, that would be super duper easy, we can just add them from there. And we have some groups already information on the Slack team, so you can jump onto any of those that already exist. And here's just some thoughts to consider. Maybe if it stays up. Oh no, it won't stay up. Shoot. Well, anyway, you can refer back to this just hopefully as you consider getting more involved in the legal hacking movement and perhaps pursuing a legal hacking project. So, does anyone have any questions, concerns, or ideas about legal hacking projects they are either working on or would like to work on?
I'm wondering if you could talk about some of the really inspiring, I know that you mentioned briefly a couple, but are there any like really inspiring tools that you could give us a little bit more information about?
Well, the one that immediately comes to mind is blockchain, because I think it enables people who are often targets of legal systems to have a system for authenticating huge amounts, for authenticating at the same level as any bureaucratic system. So it's no longer police and, let's say, the justice system, which have a monopoly on accountable record keeping. It could also be those people who are, well, anybody, any individual person can tap into a shared resource of accountable record keeping, which then can be surveyed to identify certain trends, which otherwise I think to this, there is interesting work on that, but I feel like that's huge. That's just.
Sorry, what was the name of that project?
So that's
technology.
Blockchain is just technology. But if you're interested in doing that,
I thought you said
we
clock
are doing.
shame. I thought you said clock shame, not clock shame.
I wouldn't really use that word. There are a lot of really good police officers. But I'm involved in a project that's kind of working on some of those things. So if you are interested in that, and there are in Alberta, there's a project that's very similar to what cop shame evokes, which is identifying like police officers who have been involved in various violent incidents, and then accumulating those incidents so that you can prevent, hopefully, further incidents of murder.
Yeah, so there was, I was at an event called Hack Justice on the weekend, as you were there as well, and one of the judges brought up during the question period of one of the project presentations that about like there seemed to be a focus in the group on redirecting people towards lawyers, and he asked, I think he was the leader of the Bar Association or something, Ontario Bar, but he was basically saying like what's the balance between like when do you supplement legal services and when do you direct someone towards a lawyer to make that more accessible, and how do you, I'm just curious as a law or legal professional, how do you make that determination, like when can't you file people to external resources and that process?
I think you can't do it all the time now, but I think you could do it if we had the infrastructure. And I think that infrastructure, there's a lot of stakeholders that don't want that infrastructure, and there are some that do, that are less organized. So I think that's kind of where we are now. Within the next decade or so, it's going to be a 40% drop in legal profession. I guess anyone employed within the legal profession, not exclusively lawyers, but largely lawyers. So it's a changing landscape. But I mean, instead of a whole bunch of lawyers who are making a lot of money, you can have very kind of proprietary systems that do the same thing, but just by machines. Or it could be dramatically different.
I'm wondering how much interest there is from government to like use hack justice tools to actually reform laws, like you mentioned, Professor University of Windsor, just a straight A/B testing. But is the government going to be like, oh yeah, that's enough, and we should choose whichever one got the most votes? Like, to me, they'd be a lot more reticent than that.
I agree. That's why there aren't that many examples of it, but
Yeah.
I mean, I think evidence-based policy/laws is not a bad thing. So
For sure.
hopefully.
Are you doing similar presentations to this in Regent Park, in Rexdale, communities that might not be able to come downtown but are more affected, would be more benefit to this?
That's a great question. And so the answer, well, the honest answer is, as of now, no. But if you are interested in what I'm going to call a youth justice hackathon, which would be integrating 3 communities of youth, two of those communities would be the least privileged in the GTA area, and bringing them together to develop their own legal technology, which would then become the starting point for either corporation or skill development and or different ways of making money, and addressing legal issues as identified by youth who are the target disproportionately of those legal systems, then I would love to have that conversation with you.
I'll get your card, and it's a great
Yeah.
put across conversation. Very good.
I had just, you had said having some of your folks working on particular projects is definitely, like, we're doing Democracy Kit, which is publishing an open set of resources for campaigns, and we've had a benefit of our own legal hacker on our team, Avery up in front there, but we definitely could, you know, I guess if you could comment on whether you've already reached out or worked with Creative Commons at all, and yeah, and then how we might actually tap into your group, like if we were looking to collaborate.
Great. So I welcome more people on our Slack channel. There's a Toronto one, and then there's an international one. They're full of really interesting people and ideas, and then you just, you know, so a lot of people have their phone numbers on them, so you know, just call. But in terms of your question was, how do whether we have or how?
I'm just wondering, have you done any collaboration with have you
Oh,
collaborated
Creative
at all with
Commons, right?
Commons?
Yeah. To my mind, Creative Commons is like a licensing. Is that what you're referring to, or is there something?
Yeah, it's like
Okay.
you know, being able to share things,
Yeah.
copyright.
Right. Okay. Good. Yeah. So I mean, everything is based on. I mean, there's a few. You know, the MIT has its own little copyright thing. GitHub has an amazing. Like, I feel like everything should be modeled on the GitHub display of different ways of licensing your whatever you're posting on there. I think it's probably the best example of like legal hacking I've ever seen. So everything that is published by legal hackers is open source as far as I know, and it's trying to promote, I mean, open source law, which is, I mean, would seem like a common sense idea.
Your comment about like subverting systems of surveillance made me think of one of the projects that has sort of kind of died has been tagging and shaming cars that park in bike lanes and other such things. And it seems like an interesting kind of avenue of subverting that monopoly of even just like kind of like political and legal power that certain classes of individual or vehicle have. But like that's an interesting development in terms of like the ubiquity of information technology and smartphone computing. But are there like ethical quandaries to that, to I guess like crowdsourced surveillance?
You tell me. That's a great conversation.
Maybe too big of a question?
Not only a legal question, that's for sure.
Was that actually a Civic Tech TO project, like the shaming bike lane thing?
I forget who ran it. Someone ran it for a little while.
Cool,
Yeah.
fun.
I mean, I can't speak to that more, but I prefer to open that up. I think that, yes, the answer I think is yes, it's complicated whenever you are potentially, when you're putting anything into a public space, you're know,